Any movie that has become part of the Criterion Collection canon deserves our respect, no matter how grotesque or profane. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Salo, or The 120 Days of Sodom. The back of the DVD calls it a thought-provoking inquiry into the political, social, and sexual dynamics that define the world we live in. Bitch, please. Hello everybody, my name is Sean Masvidal and welcome to Nocturnal Horrors. Taken from the Marquis de Sade and turned into 1944 fascist Italy, Salo was director Pier Paolo Pasolini's final film. The film follows 4 perverts who kidnap 18 children and have their way with them for 120 days. Yeah, that's the synopsis. Now I'm going to try and look at this objectively, but let me first say, this was not what I was expecting. To me, besides the pornographic sodomy that went on in this film, it was actually a really ridiculously silly film. Don't get me wrong though, that's not me making light of these situations involved here. It's just that I found a lot of this movie to be absolutely silly. And I would definitely call this film disgusting rather than disturbing. It is a disgusting film. But it's also a laughable one to me. And let's see why. The director talks a lot about how he put his stamp on this film by really utilizing Dante's Inferno and the Circles of Hell as a structure for Salo. But honestly, I think that's just him stroking his own ego. He simply chopped the film up into 4 different chapters: the Anti-Inferno, the Circle of Manias, the Circle of Shit, and the Circle of Blood. That's it. That's all he did. He put it into 4 chapters. How many Circles of Hell are there? More than 4, I can tell you that. The prim and proper film critics might disagree with me, but why would a prim and proper critic be looking into this movie? Because I'm not grasping it. The film structure is like any other 3-act structure, to be honest. It doesn't matter how many chapters he puts into it. It is the gathering of the children, the sodomizing of the children, and then, of course, the denouement. That's it, 3 chapters. Sorry, buddy. But what's even worse about this film is that besides all the craziness and disgustingness that's happening, it's actually really boring. A majority of Salo is literally old women talking about their dirty sexual past. It's not too amusing, and it's not enjoyable, and it's not even interesting. But apparently for the 4 perverts, it does a lot, because after a lot of the stories, they really get overhyped to do some things. The acting is dated and over-the-top ridiculous, which is really interesting because this film came out in the 70s when a lot of the golden age of acting was happening. Look at Jack Nicholson's performances and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, it's endless. The 70s were great for acting, and this was not great acting. It felt really out of touch and wacky at points where I couldn't buy into the film. Again, this is going for 1944 fascist Italy, and I wasn't able to connect with that world through this movie. There's certainly big talk, and I mean big talk, about the socio-political statements that this film is making. And that definitely comes across to an extent. But when one of your chapters is called The Circle of Shit, you can only imagine what is being done there, and let me tell you, it is hard to focus on the socio-political statements being made when there's a circle of poop. I don't see this film on a socio-political level. I see it on a much smaller scale. This is a film about power, the abuse of power, and even the falseness of power. I see it in terms of the relationships that are going on inside the movie. But sure, if you want to upgrade that into countries and world wars and discussions of Nazism and fascism versus the Allies, so be it. To me, it's more like shades of the real-life Stanford prison experiment and the abuse of power and whether that power actually exists. What did I like about this film? Well, it was adorable to see the MGM lion kickstart it all off. Didn't expect that. The locations are actually quite beautiful, both the interiors and exteriors. Plus, the music was quite lovely. It had all this sort of classical piano being played, and it was scored by Ennio Morricone, which I found to be very interesting. And when I say interesting, I mean it kind of bothered me. I couldn't understand why he would get involved in this until I found out that he was friends with the director. And in terms of the characters, well, I really hated the four perverts, so I guess they did a good job acting, even though it was wacky and out of touch. But do you tell people you're in this movie? Are you like, oh guys, you gotta go check out my movie, it's so awesome, it's called Salo, and there's all this sort of circles of hell type chapters where there's a circle of poop and a circle of blood. I mean, it's so fun. I mean, this is a disgusting film. Could you tell your mother or father that you were in this film? Would you give them tickets to go see the premiere? Do you put this one on the top of your resume and say, look what I've done? But this is called Pasolini's last film, so there's clearly some weight to it. I'll end by saying this. I think the sickest thing about this film is that it's actually shot in Salo, which happens to be the place that Pasolini's brother was killed. This was the location of Mussolini's regime. Clearly, the director was battling some serious demons here in making this film in this location, knowing that his brother died here. There's a lot of things going on in that statement, I think. So Salo becomes a really interesting therapeutic expression. I'm just not sure of what. Even crazier, Pasolini himself was murdered before this movie even came out. Maybe I haven't given Salo the chance I think it might have deserved, but to be fair, I don't see myself seeing this movie again. I don't really want to research the material. I don't think I can be blamed either. Not because it's disturbing, but I didn't connect with it in any way, and it is disgusting. But it should be noted that there are many great directors who really love this film. Gaspar Noé is one who finds it at the top of his list.
One of my very favorite movies ever.
And honestly, that's not at all surprising.
Oh, this is the best date movie on earth. This is a great date movie. My favorite part of this movie is when